Hello, good afternoon. More Chevrolet Cruze adventures. Right now we're dealing with the infamous P0171 code, System 2 Lean Bank 1. Now, if you go to AutoZone and you get the code read, or any of your places that you go to, the likely fix for this is to replace the mass airflow sensor. However, I did, and the code is still on, which leads me to believe through more research that they say that the actual reason for this code is the valve cover, which has a diaphragm in it, which is part of the positive crankcase ventilation system. When you try to sort out how it's the valve cover, you really don't have much to go on. Now, if you start the car and you actually run it, you really don't get an effect of any type of drivability issues. Actually, now that I said that, there is a slight surge at idle. Oh, look at that. You feel it a little bit, so there may be something there. But to a person who's maybe owned the car for quite a while, like I have, 82,000 miles, it's a little bit of a frog in a boiling water type of situation where the car just degrades in performance, but you don't notice it because you drive it every day, so the change is incremental. So this is the diaphragm right here in question. Now, of course, the hard part is trying to diagnose if this is actually an issue. The positive crankcase ventilation system on these motors is very hard and tricky to track down. And usually the only way you can for sure fix everything is if you change everything out all at once. This is the Chevrolet 1.4 liter turbocharged motor. As you can see, here it is in its native environment, splattered with dust, but moreover, running pretty well. So this is the diaphragm right here, and they say that you can listen to it, and if it's actually sucking in air, then that means that it needs to be replaced. But in this case, you can't really hear anything or feel anything. You can put your finger up against it, and you don't really even feel something. So last night when it was a little bit colder, I did get some type of suction. See, I don't even hear it. It doesn't even feel like it's sucking. So, I guess we'll just try to figure out what's wrong with the car. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, more Chevy Cruze shenanigans as I start changing out the valve cover to this 2012 Chevrolet Cruze. As you can see, it's pretty dusty in its native environment. I've given up a long time ago trying to keep this engine bay any semblance of being clean, normally due to the fact that it just gets dusty, and it's a Chevrolet Cruze, and you're going to drive this car. As I unbolt the positive battery terminal here, I take a moment to appreciate the rust and corrosion on the battery. And it shouldn't be like that, but it is like that. And what are you going to do? Can't even get that loose. Wow, I've never had this happen before. Let me go ahead and unbolt it from here. Hey guys, what's going on? Hi. Pretty good. So I'll just go ahead and do it from up here at the gigantic junction box. And hopefully I don't present myself here. Of course, this battery's been on and off so many times. You know, I've always wanted to try to turn this car into something that it isn't. And all I can say is that these little 1.4 Chevy motors, what can I say? They're just, you know, you want to love them, but they're really finicky at the same time. All right, so now the battery is done, and now I'm going to move to the positive crankcase hose. I'm going to move that to the side. There's actually some really good videos on YouTube already about changing this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through the motions here and kind of like get some really good high fidelity video showing all the steps, and maybe I'll cover something that the other person did. So I'm going to use a screwdriver. I'm going to pop this little thing here. I'm going to not lose it. And then this mechanism is going to slide out. And of course, if it doesn't slide out, I can just use a screwdriver to finagle it. All right, so now that that's out of the way, back in the Camaro days, there was one separate coil for each spark plug. But now, you know, there is a certain charm to these smaller motors. They're good to learn on, good to work on. They're not bad at all. I did just get done driving the car, and of course I never let it cool down, so I'm doing this while it's nice and hot. A true mechanic. So I just actually replaced this last year, 2 years ago. So this is still a new piece. There we go. Wow, man. Look how dusty it is. Maybe I should have put that dust cover. That cord is hot. Hot, hot, hot. Of course, I've seen dirtier motors. We'll go ahead and take the oil dipstick out, put it to the side. Then we'll pop it off on the other side as well. Alright, so on this side. Let's see. Let's not make this too complicated. Alright, it's ready to come off. And just fearlessly lift it off the Whew. There's a little. Let me make sure all the screws are because there still might be one hanging onto the engine block. I think that was the one. I was holding the progress. Yep, there we go, got it. And it's in one fell swoop. It's up and it's hot. Woo! Now you can see where they use the old RTV, so I'm going to have to scrape that off at the corners here. So I'll go ahead and point it out. You're going to have to use some RTV gasket maker right there and right over there, directly in the center. ahead and keep cleaning it. Don't have to worry about that. RFTV maker dropping off into the engine. Okay, but hopefully that's not a big deal. All right. I feel like this is a very important step because if you don't do this correctly, it can cause. And if you look here, I can see why you need the RTV gasket maker, because this block actually isn't complete. Look at this, it's actually a two-piece that comes together, and you put like a little shim plate in here. So if you don't run your RTV gasket maker, you're gonna have pressure build up between the block and the head and push out. So really, this is the area you want to get. I'm really surprised that they made a design like that. And they were like, oh yeah, just put some gasket maker on it and you're okay. The plebes will never know. You know, that's what you do on like $10,000 cars. But I paid like $25,000 for this car, you know. That costs a lot of money. And it's not something that you buy with the expectation that they're going to put gasket maker, right? Because any engine you buy, any machine that you buy is going to be as strong as its weakest piece. So you have an engine block, you know, the thing that keeps the engine block together is temperatures and pressures, and your only guardian against pressures, so to speak, is good gaskets, properly torqued screws, and solid surfaces that meet together. And that's really it. Gasket maker, that's more of a stopgap. That's more of something that, you know, you've already owned the car, and now you're just whatever, you know, just keeping it running. But this is something that apply it. I'm assuming they're gonna want to apply it across, because right there, and right here, because you're trying to create a channel, right, to block it. But you don't want to go too crazy with it. Right there, and right there. All right. Let me go ahead and get a close up. So the idea and then I'll go ahead and hand tighten all the screws. So you can see my plan for the RTV kind of worked out perfect. That was more of an accident. I didn't really plan that. I don't think I'm that smart. Or maybe I am. All right. So here's the deal. There's a specific bolt pattern you want to do this in. It's published by GM. I can't look it up on my phone and record at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with my own bolt pattern. But essentially, you have two mating surfaces. You have the inner and you have the outer. And the reason why it's important to do the bolt pattern is so the valve cover is completely flush with the motor. So one bolt pattern you can do is a star pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you can work your way there. And then of course you have the inner bolts right here. Now, you'll also want to vary them as you do it. So you want to work the outer and then the inner, outer then the inner. If you start here, then you want to start here. So in this case, or I could actually start on the opposite side. So in this case, I'm going to do this one first. I'm going to feed it in. So that's 1. Then I'm going to go over here. I'm going to feed this in. Now, an important thing you want to do is you want to make sure you don't strip these bolts. So if you feel any type of resistance, especially with the initial fitting, you want to make sure that you don't overdo it. And this is where a lot of people start screwing it up. 1, 2. Then I'm going to go over to here. 3. Wiggle it, make sure it's good and seated. 3. All right. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Up here at 6. Oh, actually it's here. 6. So you can kind of see that this one's not seating properly. Oh, I think we just got it to bite. See, that's why it's very important that you do this by hand. Because as you start tightening them, the worst thing you can do is to start on one end and start working your way over. Because then you're going to have a cockeyed intake. And then you're going to have hella leaks. It's going to be a lot worse after that. 7. All right. Now, what you're going to find also is that after you get done doing the star pattern, you're going to go back over the old bolts that you did, and you're going to find that they're actually loose again. So now we're going to repeat the star pattern with the outer bolts. All right, so I just did that. Okay, so now it's going to be this bolt. And this one's going in obviously good. All right, and now you have this bolt. 1. Now we're going to repeat the star pattern going out. And no, this isn't the definitive GM specified star pattern. This is the new and improved, I think I know what the hell I'm doing, pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I just dropped it. Thank God that did not end up in there. I would have been like, what? But hey, you never know. It could happen. You know, this whole time it could have just been my oil cap. I just realized. I'm gonna feel like an idiot if it was my oil cap the whole time. But hey, that's how you learn. All right. So that's it, they're on there. And now you gotta torque them down. All right. This is generally where you would use a torque wrench. But since I'm an expert and I know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna go by feel. You know, it could have been my oil cap the whole time. Yeah, because look, you got slush here. Oh my God. Look at that. Look how filthy it is. Those surfaces are not clean. Wow. Holy crap. This whole time it could have just been my oil cap. Nah, but you see, the thing is that if it was my oil cap, I would have heard it. It would have been making some really noticeable noises. Nah, I don't think that was it. Alright. I mean, even if it was the oil cap, the only way you're going to fix that is through the valve cover. Holy crap, this motor's been burning hot then. Can't really blame it. Alright. So now we're just going to tighten it by hand. That was the last one right there, so you see I hand tightened it, and now it's loose again. So on. See, this is loose again too. So the idea is that I'm going to do the star pattern, snug them up, and then that's going to be the torquing right there. 1, 2, 3, and then sometimes when you do this, you might have to like go back and back out some bolts as well. 4, 5, 6. This is kind of how you make sure that they're torqued down without actually having a torque wrench. 7. See, this one's loose again. Let me see, I think I lost count here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm definitely over here now. Nine. 10. 11. 12. 12. $13, $14. All right. Now it's time to go back over and just tighten them all down again. Make sure you got them safe, snug, and secure. See, this one's loose again. And that's because the other bolts are pushing it down evenly, so it makes sense that this is loose again. Oh, I want to loosen it, I want to tighten it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, look, this one got really loose. I don't even know if I did this one. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 'It's like doing surgery. All right. I think that's it. Oh, totally missed one. Now, if we're in a situation where the bolts won't catch, or they feel like they won't catch, then it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that you have to go back and loosen the bolts and redo the star pattern. For example, I just tightened this one down, which pushed it down, which may actually mean this one's loose again. Nope, but it's tight. This one loosened up. Now I think it's safe to just go and make sure everything's to tolerances. Man, I really hate to go back and have to redo this. That's good. Any tighter than that, then you're just stripping the bolts. Alright, I'm going to give a quick inspection of the prongs here. Make sure that there's no undue corrosion or anything. Use a screwdriver if I have to straighten them out. Got that in, got that in. Valve cover. Alright. That's crazy to think this whole time it could have been my oil cap, but I don't think so. The oil cap would have been, the oil cap wouldn't have triggered the, made it think it was a mass airflow sensor. That's total intake. Oil cap, that's a different wheelhouse. That would have been crankcase pressure. That would have triggered like a low oil or something like that, you know? And that's something, and something this minor, probably wouldn't have made a big deal. All right, now it's time to figure out, play the game of what the hell happened to that bolt that dropped. All right, this is important. Nobody does it, but once you're done, make sure you cap your RTV sealant, and you want to take like a poke a hole, but nobody ever does. Usually what you do is you just use it, you trash the tube, and you'll just buy another one. And that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm just going to trash the cap, because I know better than to try to salvage that stuff. Alright, let it seal up. That's it.